Hello, weekly update wrap up thing. Very quick this time because even though I finished 3 books, not a super huge amount to say about them, which sounds bad, but it's actually pretty not because there were 5, 4, and 4-star books. First thing I finished that I was going on last week, I talked about last week, is A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. Absolutely wonderful. It ended wonderfully with just as much creep factor as T. Kingfisher always gives. It was a very interesting take on the Goose Girl fairy tale, which I was not familiar with to start with, but I read the Wikipedia page once I found out it was. And it was a retelling in a way that didn't really bother me. Maybe because I was not familiar with Goose Girl. I'm very tired of retellings in all capacities because it seems to be just what everybody's doing now when it from books to TV to movies. Like everything is at least books are still like majority new ideas. Movies and TV, like nothing, everything old is new again, right? But this was a good retelling. It was way better than Thornhedge last year by T. Kingfisher, which I didn't enjoy as much. I really liked this one. Book of Manners, Regency, Victorian, I think it's Regency. T. Kingfisher mentions it in the acknowledgements. Regency-ish book of manners, but just so happens that some people have a little bit of magic and our main character's mother is a sorceress, and things begin to unfold when her mother, who actually controls her, fully from time to time, goes off to this new home and tries to seduce and marry this man. And the man's sister, they're both elderly, probably in their 50s, 60s. The man's sister, Hester, is the second point of view. And as Cordelia and Hester come together, they try to figure out what to do about Cordelia's mother. That's the base of it, but this turned out to be a really great, interesting story about narcissistic parents and emotional abuse. Really fantastic. And T. Kingfisher does have a lot to say about toxic family relationships, or if not the family relationship itself, but different factors that affect familial relationships. So that was really at play here. I really liked it. And it's a T. Kingfisher fairy tale retelling. Like, I love T. Kingfisher. Good horror at play here. There's some messed up shit in here that I really liked, which is a little ridiculous to say, but yeah. So that was 4 stars, comes out in August. Pick it up if you enjoy T. Kingfisher. It was great. Next I finished, I didn't actually mention it last week because I completely forgot that I had started it. I started rereading on audio City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. I read this in 2015 or 16, I believe. I think it came out like 2014-ish. And I remember enjoying it. I gave it 5 stars when I first read it. And then I started rereading it because I want more Robert Jackson Bennett. Tainted Cup is one of my favorite reads this year. I loved Foundry Side Trilogy last year. So I wanted to go back and reread City of Stairs so I can finish that trilogy. I think it's the Divine Cities trilogy. And as I started reading it, I was like, okay, I remember basic plot beats, or not even plot beats. I remember the basic setup, which is just the synopsis. And it was like reading it again for the first time. And that was great. That was a great experience. This time, though, as I remember it, I don't remember feeling the pacing as much the first time I read it. The pacing was like a bit, wonky for me. It would go really fast and then drag a lot and then go really fast and be exciting. But essentially this is a story in this fantasy world, sort of based in, I would say, Eastern European countries-ish. And there is this continent of countries where gods used to exist, and this small island nation of Saipur used to be kind of slaves to the continent, and then Saipur rose up and eventually killed all the gods from the continent and took over. So they, at the point that we are in the book, in the story, Sepur has been the occupying colonial, not colonial, words. What are words? I know I'm gonna get it. Colonial? Capital? Wow, it's gone. Word's completely gone. The occupying party, the occupying nation, conqueror, no. Lost it. Okay, we're moving on. So a murder takes place in the city of Bulikov, and our main character comes in as a detective to sort of to try to figure out why, and things escalate from there. Robert Jackson Bennett continues to be an author that I really admire for how interesting his world building and his mind is. This is really cool. I think it's so neat how he's taken this Eastern European inspired world building and just kind of expanded on it and then built on top of it really interesting thoughts and ideas, especially with the divinities, and using this to talk about struggles of nations that constantly go to war with each other, and are just how history repeats itself, how there's a pendulum that swings, and when one nation is on top, the other will rise, and then that other nation's on top, and that leads to this second nation doing the same thing that the first did, and the pendulum is swinging back the other way as this book starts. And there's just a lot of discussion of that, and a lot of discussion of revolution and what it means to be a city under the boot heel of invaders who have decided, part of the story is that after they kill the gods, the Sepuris make it illegal for the Continentals to ever discuss gods at all. Take down, they get rid of all of their teachings, their writings, statues, everything, and makes it completely illegal. And the Continentals can't even study their own history. They don't have access to their own history, but the Sepuris can read and study continental history. So that echoes a lot of our world history. So really interesting stuff going on there, really interesting thematic ideas that Robert Jackson Bennett is playing with here. It was 5 stars when I first read it, 5 stars again on a reread, and I highly recommend it. I'm going to continue on with the trilogy. I don't know if I will continue on audio or if I'm just going to buy the books, just to continue having the collection of all his books, because I own Fandricide and The Tainted Cup, and so I'm probably just going to buy the whole trilogy in paperback just to have it. So yeah, City of Stairs, lots of fun. And the last thing I started and finished this week was The Dragonfly Gambit by A.D. Sui. This is a novella from Neon Hemlock Press. This is a press that does a lot of BIPOC, LGBT works. They really push interesting speculative fiction. They really do a lot to bring voices and push forward voices that aren't usually heard. And I just really, really love what they're doing. Dragonfly Gambit, I'm going to say this was about a 3.5 to a 4 star. I enjoyed it. There were some aspects of it that I did not like as much as others, that happens with a 3.5, a 4-star book. But I am doing a Neon Hemlock project where I'm going to be reading and reviewing in one video and have in one video reviews for all of their novellas. So I'm not going to go into depth in this. I probably will do a write-up in Goodreads for now, because I'm going to use it as, remembering how I want to review this book later on. So if you're interested, I probably will have that up, if not tomorrow, then the next couple of days. But yeah, this is a sci-fi space opera-ish story about a woman from a small planet who is sucked up into the the larger, it's called the Rule. They are the overwhelming force in the galaxy, and they are just colonization. Rewind back. City of Stairs talking a lot about colonization. Oh my god. Okay, thank you. This is what happens when I do fucking videos at 11 p.m. at night. Okay. Colonization is the theme of this video this week. Our main character, Inez, is in the colonizer army, or military. She's a pilot, and 10 years before this book happens, there's something happens, and she is left for dead, and she spends 10 years stewing in hate and wants revenge. And as we start this book, she is taken again by the colonizing force and forced to work for them. But it's very twisty. It's very interesting to see what is going on, because it tells you in the back that she wants to destroy the fleet that she was once a part of, even at the cost of her own life. So it's very interesting to see what journey she goes on in this book. And I think the part of this for me that didn't work as well is that part of this is largely about very toxic relationships that she cultivates and has already had with people in the past that she's coming back to in this story. So I don't think that worked as well for me in this book as much as the greater world building and the greater story as a whole. So I said I wouldn't review it, but that's pretty much my review of this. So yeah, Dragonfly Gambit by A.D. Sui. It is still, I think it's worth your while. I think it's worth your while to check this out. It's a short novella, a very interesting take on a space opera revenge story. Inez actually, her arm is damaged, so she is a disabled character, but her disability is a part of her. It's not all that she is. So Sapphic. It's Sapphic also. So yeah, love Leon Heimlich, continuing to enjoy everything that they're doing, and this was 3.5, 4 stars. So yeah, that was my week. That was all I read. Still currently reading Words of Radiance, chugging along through that. I got through a big chunk of it because, like I said, I'll go through times where like I'm just devouring it. That's all I want to read. And then I'll go through times where like I am so tired of this right now and I need to put it down. So I am about 45% of the way through. And that's all. That's all I've got. Very short, very sweet, a little unhinged, but that's how it goes. Oh yeah, I haven't mentioned it. My hair's pink now. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you've read this week, and I will catch you next time. Bye.